Sometimes I am baffled by the sheer level of stupidity that's present in an industry, and tech is no exception. In fact, I would say tech is one of those industries that's currently in the spotlight for sheer level of stupidity. Maybe not number one, but definitely up there. So I was talking with a friend who used to live in Seattle and had experience in the tech startup scene, and he was telling me about venture capitalists. Now, a venture capitalist is just think of it as a bag of money that is given to a startup to help to invest in them, to grow them, and hopefully generate a rate of return. At least that's the ideal. That's the ideal scenario for that. In reality, venture capitalists are the sugar daddies to the twinks that are tech startups. And so what he was explaining to me is that these VCs, they will give money away at the stupidest fucking thing, at the dumbest fucking thing, as long as it sounds cool. And I was asking him, I was like, and this could be a minority case, but just what he was telling me was so incredibly stupid. I was like, so wait, you don't even need a business plan? You don't need any idea of how, this business is going to become profitable? Well, no, you just need to get market share. Ah, market share. Because market share indicates profitability, as companies like Uber and as such have shown us, or even YouTube. I kind of have a hard time believing him, but at the same time, given the current state of the tech industry, it really wouldn't surprise me if that really was the case. People with too much money are throwing it at tech startups that have no plan for how they're going to be successful. And honestly, that's kind of how it is, though. You don't start a tech startup for the point of changing the world. You start it because you want to get bought out by Google or Microsoft. You want to make a lot of money. It's the same reason behind why people will try to enter into a state's liquor license lottery despite not owning a business, because they can get the liquor license for like 10 grand if they win, but then sell it for 500K or something around that ballpark. So they can make a huge payout. And I suspect that's a big part of why the narrative that I've heard might be the case. Now, I don't live in Silicon Valley. I almost call it sometimes I call it Silicon Valley for obvious reasons, if you've seen my Twitter. But I live in Florida, so that's about as far away as I could live from that place. I don't want to live there though. It's too expensive, and the culture is just way too cutthroat and stupid. It's just it's nothing but the fucking grind over there. What's the point of grinding if you don't have time to enjoy whatever it is you produce? I'm trying to put myself into the shoes of one of these venture capitalist investors. I'm not rich by any means, but I'm really trying to put myself into the shoes of someone with too much money. Because even if I had too much money, even if I had bought all the Bugattis, the prostitutes, and the drugs, and the houses, and whatever it is that rich people are buying these days, I just can't see myself throwing money away at some stupid startup that doesn't have a plan for how they're going to become cash positive. So like, let's say that some startup came to me and they're like, hey, invest in our business. I'm like, okay, what's your business? Well, my business is this. We cater to this or that. We offer some service. Some service, that's a red flag, because service usually implies that you need some sort of infrastructure that needs to scale up with how many people are using your service. This is the case with a physical service, so it's also the case with a digital one. So I'm like, okay, so you want to offer this service, and have you established a need for it? Is there a need for it? Well, yes, the need is this, and that. Okay, well, there's a need for it. How is this going to be profitable? Profit? Well, we're gonna sell this at this, but we need to get market share first. So we need your money so we can sell our service at an artificially low price so that we can get market share. I'm like, okay, well, is that sustainable? That doesn't sound very sustainable to me, because how are people going to respond when you raise the prices? Because eventually you have to raise the prices. Eventually, I'm not going to be able to give you enough money to keep subsidizing the low prices. So you get this enormous market share, and now you're going to raise the prices. Well, what if that prompts a competitor to come along and take some of that market share? So now we've raised prices, we've lost market share, and we have competition. And while you're at it, explain to me the cost of maintaining the digital infrastructure required to handle all the users you claim that you're going to get, right? So you're trying to get market share. So we're talking about getting millions of users. Millions of users. Is whatever service you're offering scalable? Is it going to be able to handle all the increasing user data that needs to be stored? Because the more users you have, the more transactions they're making, and the more data that needs to be stored. That translates into physical hard drives. So hard drives, solid state drives. While you're at it, you also need bandwidth. Because the more users and the more transactions that are taking place on your service, the more bandwidth you need to ensure that your service is responsible. So we're talking about server farms now. So not only do we need a lot of physical hard disk space, which granted has been getting very cheap lately, is very cheap, but we also need increasing server capacity. So the question is the income that you're projected to get going to scale upwards appropriately to the cost of the infrastructure that you need to manage your service, plus the cost of running your business, so paying your employees? And it's questions like that that I would ask if I was going to invest millions of dollars into some tech startup. Now I suspect that if they said, well, we're just going to cash out to Microsoft or something and then you get a percentage of the profits, I suppose I wouldn't be entirely against it because of how stupid bigger companies are for buying into these startups, many of which have no future. For every success story, you'll always have 1,000 failures. You will always have some venture that doesn't work. You'll always have some venture that falls on its face. And I just think that investors should be doing more diligence into making sure that these companies will actually be profitable or sell off for a good value, rather than just have some money, throw money at it. We have plenty of money, so we're just going to throw money at it, and we can worry about profitability later. Because the way it screws over everyone else is, let's say you actually do come up with some service that is great, is revolutionary, and so now you push it out there, and it's integrated into everyone's lives, and now you raise the prices on it. So you screw over a lot of people who may or may not have become dependent on that service because you just couldn't charge a fair price out the gate. You had to charge something artificially lower. You get people hooked on it, and now you've raised the prices, so you're squeezing them. All in all, it's profound stupidity. It is profound stupidity that is caused by having too much money. Anyways, that's all I got. We're done here.